This whole thing was filmed with Blazar Remus 33mm t1.8 1.5 times anamorphic, which is quite possibly the best lens in the whole Remus lineup so far. I bought it with Mofage Poco PL to E-mount adapter with a VND drop-in filter. Even though it's a bit pricey, you have these drop-in filters, VND, clear, CPL, black mist. You even get shims, interchangeable mounts, it's sturdy as hell and well built. In case you're in a hurry, here's a short summary. For the past 2 weeks I've been using this lens exclusively, and excluding the softness in the corners when being used wide open on a full frame, I had no other issues with it and I'm keeping it in my own lens lineup. But if you're an aspiring cinematographer, you should probably think twice and keep practicing lighting, focusing, framing and telling a story. Because owning an anamorphic will not magically make you better, nor will it increase your client base. Yes, everybody loves them, but they bring their own quirks into the mix. For example, they're heavy as shit, focusing is far more difficult, minimum focusing distance is unusually long. It starts around 0.8 meters, so think carefully, and once you're feeling confident enough, get one of these, or once you have enough disposable income to play around.
First of all, what are anamorphic lenses? They're special lenses used primarily in filmmaking in order to squeeze a wide field of view horizontally onto a narrower space, giving you a 2.39 by 1 aspect ratio. They were invented in 1920s by a guy called Henri Chrétien. He created an anamorphic lens system called hypergonar, and it took a couple of decades to be noticed by Hollywood. The reason was economic and competition. Back in the 1950s, TV was becoming a thing and big movie studios needed a way to lure people back into the theaters. So they started using anamorphics. Of course, big epics like Ben-Hur, shot on a widescreen 70mm format, were crazy awesome but also crazy expensive. So anamorphics provided a solution to film widescreen format on a standard 35mm film, which saved a lot of money and had a big impact. Practical side aside, they brought a unique aesthetic. Horizontal lens flares, oval bokeh, slightly curved look to straight lines, which became iconic in cinema. They were meant as a technical fix, and they evolved into an artistic signature of many cinematographers.
As I'm sure you've noticed, there were multiple aspect ratios in the test footage. I used the same lens on 2 cameras, Sony FX3 and Panasonic GH6. On Sony we get the most squish due to the lack of open gate feature. We start with 16:9 4K and multiply the horizontal side by 1.5 times, getting the 24:9, which leads to 2.67:1 aspect ratio. I deliberately didn't crop it at all. It's important to see what you're getting after desqueezing. The square anamorphic bit is a bit of a hack, which allows you to have something similar to open gate to an FX3. We simply rotate the lens 90 degrees and tighten the PL mount. By doing this, we apply the 1.5 stretch factor on the vertical dimension of the image, so 16:9 becomes 16:13.5, which gives us 1.18:1 aspect ratio. Almost a perfect square. Believe it or not, this is one of the main reasons I got the lens. I love the square open gate format. And the last but not least is this one. Filmed on GH6 in 5.8K open gate BRAW via Blackmagic Video Assist. By same logic, we go from 4:3 to 5.8:3 or 1.93:1. This kinda gives you 8K BRAW anamorphic footage, albeit with a 2x crop due to the smaller sensor, which makes this lens a 66mm t1.8.
Using these lenses on different sensor sizes gave me a lot of flexibility. For example, on full frame I have an ultra wide, on APS-C I have a nifty 50, and a wider portrait lens on a micro four thirds format camera. Ironically, on both APS-C and micro four thirds the corners are usable even wide open, while on the full frame sometimes you'll need to stop down to at least t2.8 to get a usable image, unless you really need all the light you can get.
Here's a simple scene on full frame, wide open, T2.0, T2.4, T2.8, T5.6. And for comparison, the same thing on GH6. And for good measure, here's APS-C mode on FX3. Minimum focusing distance is 48.8 centimeters, which is very good in anamorphic terms. Field through thread is 77 millimeters, which is in line with the whole Blazar Remus lineup. Focus throw is 150 degrees, and weight comes out at around 0.9 kilograms or 2 pounds. I believe this pretty much sums it up. If you have any further questions, be sure to let me know.